what it does is it spreads out your pressure. Do you know how sometimes you'll peel clay off?
Uh-huh, yeah.
What that's telling you is you are affecting only the outer layer
Okay.
and you're peeling it off. So you're not compressing it.
Oh, okay.
Carl had a little trick that he would get people started on, just to get the idea, and he called it the tube of toothpaste method. So when the clay is kind of thick like this, a little at the early point, you can come along with a sponge, and notice how now instead of being at one point of contact, I'm touching a little wider. That's going to allow me to compress and push the clay in. And so what you would kind of say, just press and just press in, and look what happened. The clay moved up. Now go up to the next level and press in, and the clay moved up again.
And you're not even
and
really
and I'm not even pulling.
I think I get a little nervous there because then I have that bulge and then I
But if you
pull
don't,
it and don't.
yeah, but if you're not pulling it, it won't go through. It won't pull off. So you're right. But the thing this does is it's kind of a good technique just to get started, because it starts, evening it up. And then when you have that going, then you can make it, I call that a static pass, because it's static. You're just doing this. But it kind of shows you something. It shows you that it's the pressure, and you notice that nothing peels off. So then the next one would be going in like this. I'd still have, so maybe I start with this much sponge. Now I'm going to come back and thin it. See how the sponge is here?
Yeah, yeah.
Now when it gets really thin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the sponge back here, and I'm working on the tip of my finger, but the sponge is laying down liquid and cutting friction right in front of it. So the thing is, as the clay gets thinner, you want less contact with it. When it's thicker, you need more contact with it to keep it from peeling off like that.
And honestly, I think I'm using multiple fingertips.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that.
Yeah, that's not necessarily bad, but sometimes it can confuse you.
But you just explained a perfect solution to that, because then you're putting your fingertips across the sponge.
Exactly.
It's a plan
and it spreads it and makes it one.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's what it does. It makes it, you want the width of two, but it's better if you make it one with a sponge. Now as it gets thinner, you don't need that as much. So now I'm choking back up in a little bit. I've got just a little bit of sponge. And then I'm going to press in, and now I'm going to get that bite, and then I'm going to
Now you pull.
pull
now
up.
You pull.
Now it's just my thing, but I use the edge of the thumb. See, that still spreads it. Rather than being just one point here, it spreads it. It gives you more stability.
And then, you know what, that's really cool if you got long fingernails.
You don't use them.
You don't use them. You're using the side and you're using the sponge. What a solution for so many
Here's
things.
an easy question. Are your hands at the same,
Let's
meeting
see.
each other, right? Like
Yeah, they're meeting each other here. They're right about at 3 o'clock, both of them. But the right finger is slightly below the left.
Because the right finger is on the back,
Bottom.
at the very bottom.
Yeah.
Starts at the very bottom.
And then now that the
thickness.
clay is this thin, I'm working not on the sponge at all, but it's still there. See what it's doing? It's laying down friction. It's laying down moisture right in front of it there. And I would always put a little thin layer of little thin layer of, and then notice I'm touching here,
You're all secure.
getting that bite into the clay.
Ooh, that sounds
And
neat.
raising it. And notice that was 3 passes, just kind of getting after it like
So
that.
cool.
And now you can collar a little bit, dry it off.
it's like decisive movements.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
not
is.
really
And
Yeah.
I
hard,
think
but decisive.
getting that single plane will
Yeah.
make a huge difference.
Yeah, it is. It's really about a confidence and kind of an assertiveness with the clay.
The decision's made before you approach it.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the great sayings about Billie Holiday, another musician, said that she approached a note from a long way off. She didn't just get to the note and then make it up. She knew where her
was that
voice
before?
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. She saw it like 3 notes before she was there. She saw where that line was going.
That's like changing lane in traffic or something, right?
Yeah, it's such a beautiful compliment.